From lying to acting all innocent, watch how these kidnappers react to being sentenced to life in jail for their horrible crimes.
Disclaimer.
This is 52-year-old Todd Kohlhepp. He is accused of kidnapping and killing people in South Carolina from 2003 to 2016. Todd abducted 7 individuals and killed them. Through Todd's actions, 3 bodies were buried and a lady was discovered tied alive. Eventually, on November 3rd, 2016, Todd was taken into custody. When the police investigated his home after he was arrested, they were stunned by what they found.
What? Back up there, buddy. Are you okay? Grab what? Go. Do you have any weapons? Cut me through, okay? What's your name? What's your name, man? Lauren. Okay. All right. Just a girl. Just a girl. How are you, honey? This is bolt cutters. This is our best. He's a paramedic. Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna get you out of there. Okay. Do you know where your buddy is?
Charlie?
Yes.
He shot him.
He shot him.
Who did?
Todd Kohlhepp shot Charlie Carver 3 times in the chest, wrapped him in a blue tarp, put him in the bucket of the tractor, locked me down here, and I never seen him again.
When being questioned, Todd didn't hold back.
Put the safety off, shot the mechanic twice. He hit the ground. When I realized he was not moving, he was not going to proceed. All of a sudden I had 3 people in front of me, and I shot her 2 to 3 times in the chest. Not my best work.
Now in court, Todd hears the victims' families express their feelings to him.
I'm sorry that the events that led to such a gruesome day had to happen at all. Because there was always a better way to deal with things than taking the lives of individuals.
Todd ultimately agreed to a plea bargain that spared him from execution. He is presently imprisoned at Liber Correctional Institute, fulfilling his sentence. Responsive Michael Webb, who is facing charges for kidnapping in Texas in May 2019. Michael attacked a mother and her 8-year-old daughter as they were out on a walk. Following investigations, the police were able to track him down to a hotel. Fortunately, the child was rescued unharmed and Michael was taken in for questioning.
Let me see your hands. Step out here. Step out. Step out. Get on the ground. Shield. Get on the ground. Shield. Blood in bed. Blood in bed, man. Hey, here she is. Got her. We got her. Can we cover her up? Yeah. With something? Here you go, baby. Can we get her out? Come here. Work these 2 scenes. Let's go. Come on, sweetheart.
You're okay? You safe? We got you.
You're gonna be okay.
I told her that if she said anything, that I would do something to her parents. And if I was in jail, I would have my friends to do it.
He was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Startling, but it was nothing compared to the whole chaos that 35-year-old Granville Ritchie produced. Ritchie is in court for multiple crimes, including kidnapping and murdering a 9-year-old girl, Felicia Williams, and she vanished after her godmother and neighbor, Ebony Y, invited her friend Granville to her home. After alerting the police, Granville and Ebony were taken in for interrogation.
I picked up at her house.
Did she tell her mom where you were?
But not exactly where we were. Because her mom would trust in me.
And then you drove right from there to?
Checkers.
I think we want Checkers, right through Checkers, all of the food, we were food, we went back over with my mom's.
But when the girl's body washed up in Tampa Bay the following day, the police stepped up their investigation, and Ebony and Granville were taken in for additional interrogation, after which Granville was identified through forensics and investigations, and he was then taken into custody. The prosecution is presently addressing the court.
That the man-sized hands that placed around the throat of this little 9-year-old girl and choked the life out of her are right over here at this table, crossed in the lap of this defendant. And the evidence will be overwhelmingly clear to you at the end of this case. The eyes of Granville Ritchie, this defendant sitting right here with the purple tie.
Claiming that all the evidence pointed to Granville, the prosecution called their key witness.
I told them that I lied, and they was like, what you lied about? I said I left her with Trevor, and he wanted me to go and get some weed for him. And then when I came back, she wasn't there.
After which, they rested their case. Granville's attorneys, however, didn't agree with the prosecution. They called on their own witness.
Do you see any evidence in the autopsy report and the photographs that would suggest to you that a sexual assault, sexual battery had taken place in this case?
No.
They argued that Granville Ritchie is not guilty.
There's no signs of a struggle in that apartment. There's no DNA evidence left by Felicia Williams that you would expect.
It was time for the jury to give their verdict.
We of your finest forward ask counsel to charge the defendant's guilt of first-degree murder as charged.
We, the jury, unanimously find that Granville Ritchie should be sentenced to death. Yes.
Granville showed no emotion and is currently awaiting his death in prison. In October 2018, 21-year-old Jake Patterson, who is charged with kidnapping and murder, abducted 13-year-old Jamie Lynn Kloss from her family home and shot her parents to death. She was held captive by Jake, who was obsessed with her until January 10th, when she managed to escape. She contacted friendly strangers after making her getaway, and they contacted the police.
Okay, and do you have a cabin address?
121. I mean, I'm not up here very often in the winter. I just happened to come up today.
Okay.
I didn't want to bring her to my cabin because...
So how did she come up upon your cabin?
I was walking my dog, and we were almost home, and she was walking towards me, crying, saying, "You gotta help me, you gotta help me."
Okay.
So I didn't want to go into my cabin because it's too close to Patterson's house.
And she said her name is Jamie Kloss?
Yep.
Who's going to come back?
His name is Jake Patterson.
Later, Jake was taken into custody. The judge in the court gave an explanation of his circumstances, highlighting the severity of his acts. Jake entered a guilty plea despite this.
Your actions and the ideas that you had are not normal. They are shockingly not normal. I have no idea what rehabilitation could be provided for you. There is no doubt in my mind that you are one of the most dangerous men to ever walk on this planet.
Next, it was time for the victims to tell him how they felt.
We were so glad that Jamie was home, where she belonged with her family, but you took so much from Jamie. You took her parents, her home, her childhood, and all of her happiness.
Knowing what my sister went through the last minutes of her life, trying to protect Jamie, this doesn't leave my mind. I have terrible nightmares.
Finally, Jake learned his fate. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without the eligibility for release on extended supervision. His response was similar to Bradley Yones, who is accused of aggravated kidnapping and breaking into a house. Christine Smith, 77, was attacked and abducted by Bradley in November 2021. In court, the prosecution listed his crimes.
She was kidnapped by the defendant. She was robbed by the defendant. The defendant and his accomplice showed up. They showed up to commit an act of violence, an act of terror, of rape. Every woman's worst nightmare on a dark bottom road.
Bradley called witnesses during the trial, but the proceedings were marred by protests and disruptions. Bradley refuted the charges in his closing remarks, pointing to his interactions with the elderly and asserting his innocence.
I'm not a heinous, perverted creep. I do not go around robbing people. My two greatest friends are elderly people. One just happens to be 76 years old. She was my next door neighbor. Never. My best friend in the world, he's 62 years old. Just turned 62.
Bradley Yones was found guilty of home invasion with a deadly weapon by the jury after they deliberated for a while. Bradley had some tricks under his sleeve before being sentenced.
You know, the clerk will start filing my stuff. And the clerk will never file my stuff. That's why I'm sitting here trying to argue. Piece of shit. Let's go. No, he's done. I'm tired of this shit. Y'all.
Bradley's activities ultimately resulted in a 130-year jail sentence. Although Bradley's activities sparked criticism, they paled in comparison to Trevor Summers' unsettling deeds, who was accused of attempted murder and kidnapping. Trevor took Elisa Matthews, his ex-wife, captive for hours in her home in March 2017.
Some dude some chick just ran out of the dude's car,
He just grabbed her and put her back in my car.
Representing himself in court, Trevor questions his wife. Unintimidated, Alyssa told the court what really transpired.
Did I threaten you to have sex?
You broke into my home in the middle of the night when I was sleeping, attacked me and tied me up. I take that as, yes, you threatened me to have sex with you. Yes.
Now it is the turn of the prosecutor to present their case. They began with Alyssa's testimony and then the caller.
And I also speak about the sexual encounters as casual. It is something that is a common thing between the victim and I at that time and prior to that. The victim herself stated that sex doesn't mean that much to her.
What did he do when he was running towards the female?
He caught up to her and grabbed her, kind of wrestled her back to the ground.
Then they rested their case, and it was time for Trevor to learn if his argument convinced the jury.
I only hope that the sentence that I give today gives some sense of peace in knowing that Mr. Trevor Summers will spend the rest of his life in Florida State Prison.
The repercussions were dire, even though this behavior can be considered a byproduct of divorce. The situation of David and Lisa Turpin, a couple who were accused of torturing, kidnapping, and mistreating their dependents in California, cannot be claimed to be any better. In January 2018, one of the children called the police. After providing more details, she met up with an officer.
I live in a family of 15 people, and my parents are they abuse us, and my two little sisters right now are chained up.
What's going on?
Okay. I just ran away from home,
Okay.
and I live in a family of 15.
Okay.
My two little sisters right now are chained up.
They're chained up?
Yes,
Where are they chained up at?
on their bed. Now, Mother didn't chain them up just to be mean. Okay. They're chained up because they stole Mother's food. But I'm sorry if I talk too much. Okay. I've never talked to anybody out there, so I've never been alone with a person, so it's very hard for me to talk. Okay.
Do your parents know you left your house?
No, they're home.
The officers went to investigate and found David and Luis, who were promptly arrested.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry to bug you.
How you guys doing?
Good.
We got a call for a check the welfare here at your house. So
For what?
check the welfare. So just basically check on everybody, make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah, why?
Do you guys have kids in the house?
Yes.
Okay, do you mind if we come in and just take a look, make sure everybody's safe and everything's okay?
Okay, what kind of call did you get?
Well, we got a call that there was a young female walking around saying that she came from a house over here. We were able to find out that this was a house, and we just wanted to check and make sure everybody was okay.
Think that she came from here?
That's what she said.
From inside this house?
I think so. Otherwise, we wouldn't be knocking on your
Did
door
she
at
say
Sunday.
her name?
I don't know. Did she say her name?
I don't know offhand, but we
We
need
don't
to
know.
check.
We just need to check and make sure everybody's okay.
In court, they admitted to the crime. The children then told the court what they went through.
Sometimes I still have nightmares of things that had happened, such as my siblings being chained up or getting beaten.
David spoke emotionally, thanking God for his children and expressing regret for any harm caused. Luis apologized for her actions and expressed belief in God's plan for their children.
I never intended for any harm to come to my children. I'm sorry if I've done anything to cause them harm.
I pray for my children every day. I want to say again how truly sorry I am for everything I've done to hurt them.
I love them more than they could ever imagine.
The judge emphasized the children's importance before sentencing both defendants to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after a minimum eligibility of years. David is serving his sentence in California State Prison Corcan, while Luis is incarcerated in the Central California's Women Facility.
The only reason that your punishment is less than the maximum time, in my opinion, is because you accepted responsibility at an early stage of the proceedings. You spared your children from having to relive the humiliation and the harm they endured in that house of horrors. So any punishment that is given to you today will pale in comparison to the fact that you will not have an opportunity to spend your years with your children as a normal parent. Both defendants are sentenced to life with the possibility of parole.
David and Luis Turpin are prime examples of kidnappers acting crazily. However, could the case of Ariel Castro be considered even a little crazier? One could argue that Ariel Castro's case is even more bizarre. On May 6, 2013, Ariel appeared in court for abducting and abusing 3 women in Ohio. Barry, one of the abducted girls, managed to get in touch with the neighbors and requested assistance.
Police, fire, or ambulance?
I'm the police.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years and I'm here, I'm free now.
Okay, stay there with those neighbors and talk to the police when they get there.
Okay.
Okay, talk to the police when they get there.
The police moved in to save the situation as soon as they could. Afterwards, Ariel was taken into custody. He couldn't stand to hear his accusations in court right now.
You took 11 years of my life away, and I have got it back. I spent 11 years in hell. Now your hell is just beginning. I will overcome all this that happened, but you will face hell for eternity.
I just want to clear the record that I am not a monster. I just acted on my sexual instincts because of my sexual addiction. Finally, I would like to apologize to the victims.
That lack of insight means to me that you are still pose a grave danger to the community if you would receive anything other than a consecutive sentence. That you don't deserve to be out in our community. You're too dangerous because in your mind, you're a victim, again, as opposed to those who actually did suffer the victimization.
Not to be forgotten is the notorious incident with 51-year-old Henry Dinkins, who was charged with kidnapping and killing 10-year-old Barcia Terrell on July 10th, 2020. While Barcia Terrell was staying at Henry's residence, she disappeared. When the police arrived, Henry put up a show.
She would have never woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning. She would have never... What you mean? 8 o'clock in the morning? I'm just saying. That ain't what I said. I never said that.
Guys, this isn't the time to fight.
Exactly. I don't give a about you walking. You lost her though.
How did I fucking lose?
Because you was watching her, Henry. What the fuck do you mean?
But hey,
I'm gone, sir. Come on, D.
Listen to me. Well, you guys gotta come together right now. This isn't a time to fight about it.
Henry was brought in to be questioned since he was the last person to see Bria alive.
There's a bunch of people right now with the department going out there. We're trying to do what we can.
I hope, pray to God that they find my baby. You know what I mean? Because
However, his story didn't add up. The prosecutor described the events in court. Ultimately, the prosecutor's argument was accepted by the court.
Except Henry E. Dinkins did commit murder in the first degree.
This is the moment that Barcia's mother addresses Henry.
It's really painful that a statement could bring so much anger. I have a number of questions for you, Henry Dinkins, surrounding that night that played through my mind every day. Did she want me? Was she scared? Did she see those gunshots coming?
Now it's Henry's turn to speak.
what are you supposed to do when you're told you can't even speak in court? Especially when you see and know something ain't right. Logistically, it's like having a gag order which prevents you from addressing the court with any of the issues. I'm only going to speak right now because this is my only opportunity to address the court during the closing of this trial, which is kind of too late for me.
The court was not moved by his speech during his sentencing.
It is the judgment and sentence of this court that you be committed to the custody of the Iowa Department of Corrections for the rest of your natural life without the possibility of parole.
Henry is incarcerated at the moment fulfilling his sentence. Reaction very similar to that of Brandon Leoner, who was charged on September 27, 2022 with kidnapping a child. The police were called after a man abducted a baby. Brandon was still clinging to the infant and using him as a shield when they got there.
Put the kid down! Put the kid down! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground now!
Luckily, the child was found safe and sound. Still, Brandon would not give up. He was eventually restrained and placed under arrest. His legal matter is still pending. But this wasn't the only instance of a prisoner losing it. Consider the instance of 38-year-old Darius White, who was charged in April 2022 with kidnapping and auto theft. A 9-year-old child was inside a stolen car when the police received a call about it. The child's mother used her phone to monitor her automobile once they arrived at the site. As soon as the automobile was tracked, the police raced to the scene. Darius was still inside.
Show me your hands! Show Get out the car! Door! Open door! You're trying to kill us! You're trying to kill us!
After that, he was taken into custody. The child was returned to his mother after being saved and deemed uninjured. The case of Darius is still pending. If you want to see more questionable cops and insane arrests, click the next video on screen.